Welcome back to Mark Carney's book club. This is the second part of chapter 14, How Purposeful Companies Create Value. Part 1, he was getting into shareholder value and what a company's purpose is, how it used to be back in the olden days about doing good. And corporations couldn't just be formed by anybody. He talks about how corporations have served the interests of their shareholders above all else and highlighted situations in history where the courts have even decided that that is what the corporation's role is to maximize value for its shareholders. He was saying that at times large positive gains could accrue to society if small sacrifices were made on behalf of shareholders. A strong corporate culture is part of the solution to the problems of incomplete contracts and imperfect incentives. A strong corporate culture encourages stakeholders to internalize the behaviors firms want to create and sustain. In particular, purpose is indispensable to a culture of integrity. As we have seen, trust cannot be achieved merely by asserting rules and following protocols, but rather it is earned by multiple social interactions that reinforce behaviors and values. He talks a lot about how companies provide solutions and contribute in their own way to the betterment of society. And reading this chapter is kind of the first time that I have disagreed with what he's been saying. And not saying he's wrong, I perhaps am just jaded based on where I was in my career versus where he has been in his career. I feel like people who are in very high positions, they get shielded from a lot of shit. He seems like a good leader, and he seems like someone who wouldn't be like a total asshole to anybody. But there is still a level of like the people shielding you from the shit and just only telling you like the good stuff wherever possible. I think he does have a more positive outlook on corporations in general than I do. He definitely doesn't seem like he likes the whole shareholders first attitude of things, but he does put a lot of stock in the private sector being very innovative and having great capabilities, which I do agree with. He hasn't yet anyway talked about the monopoly issues we have, and it's gotten to the point where companies will do anything for the shareholders, and that includes and practically requires at this point exploitation of their employees. They certainly wouldn't be the employees at his level, be the employees at the lower levels. Having been kind of in those trenches of corporations in finance, I probably see it a lot differently, but I'm definitely willing to hear him out, and I like the positivity he brings to it because it's kind of like putting in my face how jaded I am about these topics. Next little section is called Doing Well by Doing Good. He says, there is a growing body of evidence that indicates purpose and a commitment to values will help a company's bottom line. A 2015 meta-analysis of over 2,200 studies published since the 1970s found that 90% of studies reported a non-negative relationship between environmental, social, and governance criteria and financial performance, with 63% reporting a positive relationship. Values advertised by businesses on their website or in annual reports have not been shown to contribute to firm performance, but the values noticed by employees who work for the company day in and day out do matter. Companies whose employees report that management's actions matched its words and that management was honest and ethical in its business practices are more profitable. Likewise, companies whose mid-level employees can identify a strong clarity of purpose in the company's work have been shown to experience better financial performance. To help with my jadedness, can people please tell me these good companies? Because when I quit my corporate career and I started my CPA firm, I am a CPA by the way, if you need any digital products, I have a whole bunch on my website. I did so because I want to work with good people who want to do good things. I was told I needed a niche and I said, I just want to work with good people. And apparently that wasn't a niche, but I think Mark Carney is saying that that is kind of a niche and like there is ethical ways to do things. And I want to work with those people. So tag your favorite ethical companies in the comments so I can be their accountant. He says that a company having a strong commitment to a socially driven purpose attracts and retains top talent. As explained by Rebecca Henderson, the sense of being part of something greater than yourself can lead to high levels of engagement, high levels of creativity, and the willingness to partner across functional and product boundaries within a company, which are hugely powerful. This effect can be material. Companies listed in the 100 best companies to work for in America generated returns 3.8% above the benchmark between 1984 and 2011 when controlling for market performance and other risk factors. My comments on those 100 best companies list, again, very jaded. A lot of those lists you have to pay to get into them. I've had employers try to get me to lie on the application form, and also just employee surveys in general. You really have to take them with a grain of salt because people are scared to say what they really think because all employees know that nothing is truly anonymous and they feel like it's a trap. So I would not be quoting them if I were him. Final quote for this chapter is, many of the problems in society today, from our searing inequalities to our continued destructive dependence on fossil fuels, are the result of a misplaced acceptance of the status quo. Or fundamentally, they are the result of not first expressing and then pursuing our values. With our challenges laid bare by the triple crisis of credit, COVID, and climate, now is the time for companies to define and pursue their purpose. Investors have a critical role to play in this dynamic. They too need to define and pursue their purpose. Nowhere is that more important than with respect to climate change. Let's now turn to how investors can measure, invest, and build values. Next chapter is the second to last chapter, and it's called Investing for Values, chapter 15. We will continue with that next. Follow along and tell me what you think so far.